If I had to describe the WWE in 2024, I would use the word resurgence. It gave us our highest highs, but not a lot of lows. And this new spark within the WWE and found popularity could reach heights that we've seen in the Attitude Era. And with Monday nights moving to the biggest streaming platform in Netflix, trust me, things are gonna get a lot bigger. So, in this video, let's review 2024. Hi, I'm Raw, and we'll go through the entirety of 2024 within the WWE. Now, there is a lot going on, so if I miss something, don't freak out. You can let me know in the comments if I miss a big moment or whatever. So, for the sake of time, let's just hop straight into January with the Royal Rumble. The Women's Royal Rumble match. Personally, it was pretty great. We got some interaction with some TNA folks and Jordan Grace and Naomi, R-Truth cameo, Jade Cargill's debut in the WWE, and some really cool spots. And at the time, I thought it was pretty whatever, but I'm not the biggest Bayley's fan, so that can play a part in it. But great match overall. Next is the Fatal 4-Way for the WWE Championship. Undisputed, that is. And at the time, I know a lot of folks didn't really like this match, wasn't really rocking with it. Predictable finish, typical Roman Reigns, put him over finish. But I really liked it. You get Randy Orton, LA Knight, AJ Styles, and Roman Reigns in the same ring. Four-ish good in-ring wrestlers. Guess who's not the great in-ring wrestler? Anyway, I like this match. A lot of shenanigans, especially when we'll get to that later. But yeah, they two kick off the Rumble. We get our mini towards tricep right off the bone and kind of hindered his spot on the WrestleMania card. But at the end of we can jump to February on that note. February probably gives us the most batshit crazy road to Mania that we had in a long time. So we'll hop straight into it. The Raw after the Rumble, CM Punk addresses the fans, say, "Hey guys, I won't be able to compete at Mania. I barbecued my tricep. It's fucked." Then the individual who fucked up the tricep, Mr. Drew McIntyre, comes out and says one of the most memed WWE memes of the year. But at the detriment of CM Punk's cooked tricep, we get the start. The catalyst of the greatest feud we've seen in the WWE and probably the whole wrestling industry for the year of 2024. But this week, we'll get even crazier. So, we jump to the February 2nd episode of SmackDown. You get to your Blood Live promo. They're yapping, talking about Seth, talking about Cody. Roman says, Seth don't get no pops. Cody comes out, he joins the yap session, and this is all seemingly, Cody confronting Roman about their impending WrestleMania 40 match, right? But Cody utters the ground-shattering statement of, and then all you hear is, and then it became clear. We getting Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania, baby. And you would think a match of this magnitude, a match that we've been waiting for this long, we have hypes on hype on hype on hype on a level we've never seen before, which it did. But there were a lot of backlash on the internet for this decision, mainly because Cody winning the Rumble seemingly indicated that he will face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, but the spotlight was being taken by The Rock. I mean, if you go on Twitter, Reddit, shit, Yahoo Answers probably had some of the discussion on there. You were either a Cody crybaby or you were lobbying for Samoan warfare. Listen, I was out here lobbying for Samoan warfare, all right? We were waiting for Rock versus Roman for so long, and it was just a long time coming. I didn't even really realize that Cody was the Rumble winner at that time. He just walked off the stage and, let the Rock and Roman Reigns have his shine. But I can say in hindsight, it's pretty crazy that the WWE tried to cuck Cody, out of his Rumble win. I think it was his for the take a two-face Roman at WrestleMania, and I feel like on an off year, probably like without the belt, that the Rock and Roman Reigns could, have their little WrestleMania main event. But at the time, me personally, I liked it. But, the internet had different ideas. And this definitely got back to WWE creative with Triple H and allegedly The Rock. And this was addressed on the February 8th WrestleMania 40 kickoff event. If you want your road to WrestleMania to be pure chaos and build, you need to watch this kickoff event because it was pretty crazy. We get to the point we know Roman Reigns comes out and Seth Rollins is on stage. You know, Seth Rollins addresses the no pop situation, all that other good stuff. And this had everything. It had Roman's decision, The Rock coming out, the Vegas crowd booing The Rock, the We Want Cody chants, Cody's entrance, Cody's disrespect of the family tree, the Bloodline's disrespect of Cody's family tree, Rock stepping up and absolutely slapping the shit out of Cody. The scuffle ensues, and man, we get in there. We were cooking in February. It was looking good. And you really couldn't complain at what was going on here. It seemed to rectify the mistake, the misdirection at first, if you want to call it a misdirection. But, this is how you build a good WrestleMania main event and include, one of the legends in The Rock in it without, throwing away what you initially had planned, which was Roman versus The Rock. You could get him involved in a match. I mean, he is kind of part of the bloodline, so him teaming up with Roman does make sense. So, yeah. And it also displays the power that the WWE Universe actually has. I mean, the outrage online and the pivot that the WWE made, it shows that we're past the time of when name redacted was, ahead of everything. And, WWE's willingness to listen to the fans and, take what they say into consideration. So that's always a great sign. And the rest of February really sees the other builds to WrestleMania. You have your Elimination Chamber qualifiers. You get Damage Control and Io Sky planning their deceit against Bailey. And with that, we'll hop into Elimination Chamber. So from Perth, Australia, we get the Elimination Chamber. And it's always great to see the, WWE PLEs outside of the US, especially those who are from the area and gets the loudest crowd reactions. That was the first match of the night with Indy Hartwell being the hometown favorite. Even though her and Candice LeRae lost to the Kabuki Warriors, it's still great to see the crowd react and give us some hometown love. Next was the Women's Elimination Chamber with Becky winning. Great spots, a great match. Becky is always a fan favorite to win the chamber. She'll go on to WrestleMania to face Rhea Ripley. Next was a tag team match with the Judgment Day. They retain a filler interview session with the Grayson Waller effect with Cody and Seth. Then we have the men's chamber match with Drew winning. Finally, the main event, Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax, or Rhea Ripley retaining. And yeah, that was Elimination Chamber. Pretty much of Jack of all trades, master of none, PLE. And we'll hop to March. Raw, what is a Bloodline Rules match? And you could just think of it as the, tribal combat match, but with MCU level cameos. And now, next week's episode of SmackDown, we get KSI on the show for some reason, because I guess he's friends with Logan Paul. Then he gets RKO, so that's good. Then we proceed with AJ Styles announce his distaste for LA Knights in another WrestleMania match build up. And then we finally get Seth and Cody accepting The Rock's challenge. And Cody getting a little bit of revenge, a bitch slapping The Rock right back. Next, of who will face Gunther for the IC title at Mania. The March 15th episode of SmackDown gives us peak the final boss Rock, where he gives us a spoken word over guitar. And I cannot understate how much The Rock played his side character role in this. He gives us so much on this road to Mania. We in March with kind of a Becky Lynch Nia Jax feud. LA Knight pulling up on AJ Styles' crib and going to jail. Damage Control jumping Naomi and Bianca Belair. Jay and Seth coming to Cody's aid after the Bloodline attempted to assassinate him. Tape the WrestleMania card, all killer, no filler, and we hop into April for the WrestleMania 40. So at last, we're here. WrestleMania 40 from the city of brotherly love. With the build of the showcase of the Immortals live up to the hype? Fuck yeah, it did. Other spots, an R-Truth Cena homage, an absolute destruction. Team NFL, the Philadelphia Eagles, fly Eagles fly. But outside of that, pretty standard filler Mania match. Unfortunately, we proceeded to get the worst match of the whole two-night card in Jey Uso versus Jimmy Uso. I'm gonna keep it a buck. These two are better WWE characters than WWE. This had it all. The spots, them battling all over the arena, all the hot mics. He beats down a battered Rollins. Goes to Punk. Dusty forbidding Fortnite emote. Punk beats the shit out of him. And then we get Damian. But there's just no other way to describe it. It was just that. It encapsulates everything that we've been waiting for. since January. It just may have been worth the overinflated ticket prices. Just maybe. Man, from the commentary, the in-ring performances, the near falls, the interferences, the just Avengers Endgames, it just had it absolute cinema. The Raw after Mania gave us a very awkward Cody Rhodes and Rock interaction. The debut of Damian Priest as your World Heavyweight Champion. Cena coming on Raw and teaming up with R-Truth and The Miz to help them in their match. Liv Morgan ambushing Rhea Ripley and quite literally breaking her shoulder. It also leads up to our WWE draft. Here's the results here. The other WWE TV shows gives us Jey Uso being the #1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship at Backlash. More build to the eventual Drew versus Punk feud. You get Becky Lynch becoming your new Women's World Champion after the title was vacated due to the Rhea injury. And AJ Styles winning the rights to face Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Championship at Backlash. Speaking of Backlash, let's hop over into May. On fire the whole night, to the point where folks online was saying that France may need the host of WrestleMania. That crowd would probably be insane if it was anything like this one. This needs to take over the bloodline after the loss that Roman suffered at WrestleMania, and they've been pretty much terrorizing SmackDown, so Randy and KO had to step up and carry this PLE. Would probably be an understatement. This crowd made this PLE. Cody beat Mania. The subsequent Raw and SmackDowns were mainly just King and Queen of the Ring qualifier matches. Liv and Becky trying to kill each other over the Women's World Championship. Chad Gable's abuse of the Alpha Academy. The rise of the new bloodline. And we quickly get into the next PLE of May, which is the aforementioned King and Queen of the Ring. Solid PLE all around. We see the kickoff shows be started with the Women's Tag Team Champions versus Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. They retained. We get Becky Lynch versus Liv Morgan, which sees Diamond try to get involved to help Becky win, to try to, keep the championship out of Liv's hand because she kind of put Rhea Ripley out of action. This backfired as Liv becomes your new Women's World Champion. This is also the start of Liv's infatuation over Dom, so there's that. Next is a triple threat for the IC title, and I forgot to mention it earlier for WrestleMania, but yeah, Gunther and Sammy faced off for the IC title and Sammy won. It was a great match, even though Chad Gable should have been in this position, for plot, but Sammy works out too. Sammy also won this match at King and Queen of the Ring, so yeah, this was the start of all the Sammy Hogan memes online. This PLE also saw Nia Jax win Queen of the Ring, with Gunther winning King of the Ring. The PLE ended with a great match between Logan Paul and Cody Rhodes for the Undisputed Championship, and this saw Cody Rhodes coming out on top with another great defense for the start of his reign. Then in the main event of the May 27th Raw, we see Liv Morgan. Yeah, I combined June and July kind of the same section because they're one and the same to me. Braun Breaker becoming one of the pinnacle points of the WWE roster as a new star. Damian Priest's underrated title run, if you ask me. And then we have SmackDown, which at this time is pretty much just the Diet Bloodline show. Not the bloodline of the Roman Reigns time, but the Solo Sikoa time. And the inclusion of Cody Rhodes, which, carries the championship, kind of dulled his reign a little bit. Even though I feel like the hates that was seen online, the terminating online Cody hate was a bit much, but this definitely didn't help because it just didn't add anything to Cody's reign other than to eventually get Roman Reigns back into the WWE. We did see the new bloodline send Paul Heyman on vacation as well, which was a pretty cool spot. I didn't think Paul Heyman would ever take a bump like this, but it was cool to see. But before Mark Henry-esque retirement and proceeds to fuck up Cody. At this time, SmackDown was really being carried by Bianca and Jay's tag team dominance, LA Knight, and Carmelo Hayes, who was a bright star in the making. While in June, we get to Clash of the Castle, opening up with another Cody versus AJ style match in an I Quit match. Good stuff, good start to the show. Cody retains. We get new tag team champions. more Sammy Hogan. Bailey beats Piper Niven to retain her gold. And in the main event, we see Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre. After a ref bump, Drew has Damian dead to rights, where a new ref comes out, and it's none other than CM Punk, the best in the world, who screws Drew out of the title, and Damian retains. And yeah, 2024 has a great track record of PLE so far, started from all the way from January, ending in June. Hopefully, this keeps up. And yeah, June ends with the introduction of the Wyatt Six and the most interesting moments on SmackDown we've seen in a while, with Drew McIntyre brutalizing Punk in his hometown, can't be me, and the insane debut of the Samoan werewolf, Jacob Fatu. This guy is truly insane. Demented, if you will. And yeah, we hop in July with the start of the Money in the Bank PLE from Toronto. A popular PLE as far as I'm concerned. And it proceeded to be the worst PLE of the year, probably by far. And if you ask me, it's probably the worst during the Triple H creative regime. It just has so many problems that I'm going to get into right now. And in the opening animation of the show, we have the Money in the Bank robber mascot literally doing the gritty, which just tells you everything you need to know. We start with the men's Money in the Bank match, and for all intents and purposes, it was a good match, at least in the moment, as it saw Drew win the Money in the Bank. On the previous Raw, when all the contestants were jawing at each other, Drew said that when he wins the Money in the Bank, he would cash it in that same night for the World Heavyweight Championship. And this comes off as a little too on the nose, as I don't recall anybody else making as bold of a claim as this. And with this very bold claim, it was almost prophesized to come true. And yeah, he wins. So it kind of tells what's going to happen later in the night, right? We get another installment of the Sammy Hogan epic as he beats Braun Breaker for the IC title. And then we get the Jonathan Cena coming out to the crowd in Toronto and telling us that 2025 is going to be his last year. That's right. The icon of the ruthless aggression era and the PG era star, John Cena, is going on a retirement tour with the WWE full time to end his career in 2025. And depending on how pessimistic you are, this makes the PLE kind of worse, because we already have mid matches, men's Money in the Bank that retroactively gets worse, and now one of the stars, one of the GOATs, John Cena, says that he's going to retire, and then after 25, there's going to be no in-ring wrestling from him. Yeah, it's not looking good for this PLE. Speaking of the men's Money in the Bank and how it gets retroactively worse, we have the World Heavyweight Championship match with Damian Priest versus Seth freaking Rollins. This, for what it was worth, was a good match up until the end, where it proceeded to turn into botch madness. So Seth hits a Falcon Arrow on Damian Priest, pins him to the mat. The ref counts 1, 2, 2.99, and he just stops, even though Damian Priest visibly doesn't kicks out. And this was due to the fact that supposedly Drew McIntyre's music was supposed to hit right here to signify he's cashing in, but it didn't happen. It was kind of an awkward moment. The crowd noticed. We all noticed on TV. Then Drew eventually does cash his in. He cashes in the briefcase. A lot of back and forth there. And then CM Punk comes in to screw with Drew after, fucking him up in his, hometown of Chicago, Illinois. And, they get their thing. He strangles Drew with a cord, hits him with the belts, and then Damian Priest retains. And this just signifies the plan from the beginning that I guess Triple H and Creative had with the Money in the Bank briefcase for the men's division, which was to burn it and make it useless for this year. Because if we're being honest, any winner from the Money in the Bank outside of this situation, how was it going to be used? Nobody's realistically going to cash in on Cody at the beginning of his reign. And with Gunther winning King of the Ring, sorry to spoil you all for later in the video, but yeah, he wins the World Heavyweight Championship, and he's going to be the heel to hold it for a long time coming, at least till WrestleMania. Speaking of WrestleMania, book it. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is my first prediction for the WrestleMania 41 card, being Gunther versus John Cena for the World Heavyweight Championship. Gunther is pretty much every heel John Cena has ever faced, from your JBLs to your Edge to your Ortons to your Umaga. So this one, pretty standard for Cena. You can see him, eclipse that championship record that he's so seeking. So yeah, pretty easy prediction in my opinion. Anyways, back to Money in the Bank. Yeah, this retroactively makes it worse because it's just like, yeah, these folks go out and do this match, which is still a good match in the moment, but it's just a trend I really just don't want to see in the future. Like, even if you have somebody win, they cash it in and they lose, that still brings up an excitement and some tension in that instead of just burning the briefcase for this moment. But I guess it does further the great feud we get with Drew and Punk later in the year. I just don't like how do we just utilize in the time being. So, it's just mid, bro. Next is the women's Money in the Bank, which was the best match of the night by a light years. Great spots. These women really went in here and put on a show. Chelsea Green took bump of the night here, and it saw the right winner being the one, the only, Tiffany Stratton. This match was the saving grace, if it was even that. No, it's no saving this PLE. It was just a good match to see in a PLE full of just schlock. Speaking of schlock, we get to the main event, being the 6-man tag team match with Cody, KO, and Orton versus the New Bloodline. And I'm gonna keep it short with y'all. This was not it. Other than Jacob Fatu, this match was severe levels of mid. It was probably worse than mid, thinking about it. The crowd really wasn't in my opinion, and just displayed the Bloodline formula in the worst way possible. The best part of the match was Tonga Loa's botched nut shot on KO. Took him 2 times to get it right. And really, this PLE was just Botchamania 24. It was buns. Absolute ass, if you will. So, done talking about it. Happy to move on to better topics. Going into July, it was all built to SummerSlam in the 216. On that night, Raw established that Drew and Punk will be happening at SummerSlam with special guest referee Seth freaking Rollins. Ron Breakker wanted to rerun his fate with Sami Zayn, and I like to think of it as Diet Attitude Era, but in the best way possible. SmackDown also started to rev up as we got the whole LA Knight and Logan Paul feud. Logan was literally in Logan Paul's pool, demanding his US title to be put on the line. We have the Queen of the Ring, Nia Jax, challenging Bayley for her Women's WWE Championship. And the new Tribal Chief, Solo Sikoa, challenges the American Nightmare for his championship at SummerSlam in a Bloodlines rule match. And that can only mean one thing: a cameo. So let's hop over to August to see SummerSlam. Live from Cleveland, Ohio, we have SummerSlam. That was second best PLE of the year. I was even there in person to witness greatness. Now, this is the second best PLE. Let's get into it. We start with the returning Rhea Ripley with Dominic by her side against Liv Morgan for the Women's World Championship. The most hyped match of the night being CM Punk versus Julius McIntyre, with our boy Seth as the special guest referee. Wasting no time, they go straight into blows. They even go outside of the ring, use a bit of, weaponry to their advantage. Punk's kind of knocked him out, got it back, kicked to the nuts. Claymore and CM Balor, after being suspect for Dane a little bit, get to the main event. Solo Sikoa versus Cody Rhodes, Bloodline Rules match. Not really a good match itself. We did get some cameos like KO, Randy coming out, new bloodline, Jacob. You already know what moment is coming. As both men are down, defeated, we hear the faded drums of liberation. The GOATs of this era, the OTC. The OTC takes down the new proclaimed tribal chief to help Cody retain. Part 2, really what we needed out of the SummerSlam. The rest of August saw Gunther start his championship reign, the Terror Twins versus the New Judgment Day, since, Liv is now in the Judgment Day and kicked Rhea and Damian out. Punk and Drew still feuding and building up that hatred for each other. Rawson's Reed ascension as he decimates Seth Rollins and sent him on vacation for a while. We get to start a Nia Jax's championship reign and LA Knight's championship reign. A great feud with Andrade and Carmelo Hayes in a 7-game series. Really one of the highlights of the year on SmackDown for me. And August also gave us Bash in Berlin in, you guessed it, Berlin. So we fire off this one real quickly. Cody versus KO for the WWE Undisputed Championship. Cody wins, build their story. Next, the Women's Tag Team Championship. Jade Bianca wins. Next, Drew versus Punk in a really fun strap match. Pause. Punk gets the victory to tie up their series 1-1. Next, also a really fun match in a mixed tag team match with Liv and Dom and the Terror Twins. We get Rhea absolutely dominating everybody and the Terror Twins picking up the victory in Berlin. Last but certainly not least, the main event, Gunther versus Randy Orton for the World Heavyweight Championship. Back in King of the Ring, Gunther was seen to win in real controversial fashion because Randy Orton wasn't pinned to the match. So this was to rectify that match, and we got some real good graps in this. Great wrestling for both of these two, and Gunther retains. Overall, really good PLE. Following SummerSlam, we on a good track. Now we're gonna jump over to September. September saw the end of SmackDown on Fox as we know it. SmackDown premiered on the USA Network, and I was even there. Everything in the month of September was just build to a familiar PLE and Bad Blood, which was taking place in Atlanta. From Liv and Rhea again, Nia Jax and Bayley again, to the Judgment Day, Seth returning to get his revenge on Bronson Reed, Roman and Cody teaming up to face off against the new bloodline, and Mr. Main Event himself, Yeats, finally capturing singles gold. What a great moment on that Raw. But as September was a stepping stone month to build to other storylines, I can't help but feel that this is where some of this crack started to show in some of these storylines, specifically Liv and Rhea, the whole Nia Jax reign, and the countless repetitiveness of the Judgment Day shtick. It just wasn't working for me, and it really started to show that we needed to move on from all of this. Less of the Nia Jax reign, it was just kind of stagnant where she was at, but more of the Liv Morgan Rhea stuff, the Judgment Day stuff. Not to mention the Cody reign, not to sound like one of the Cody haters that's online, but it started to kind of feel stagnant and trapped in bloodline hell, even though this Bad Blood PLE that's coming up will release Cody to finally start doing work that's not bloodline related. Overall, September was definitely a build month to storylines that we mostly love, and I use mostly sparingly. And with that, we can hop over into the start of October. Atlanta gets the Bad Blood PLE, and we even got Metro Boomin on the soundtrack. With us to the night and match of the year being Drew McIntyre versus the best in the world in Hell in a Cell. Triple H versus Shawn Michaels at Bad Blood 2003, 2004, and it brings that same energy, that same intensity, and I love it all the way. And shout out Drew, man. For a feud that really wasn't supposed to happen, he carried with his character and just his pure obsession with CM Punk. And CM Punk also did his part into it. But man, Drew has to be the MVP of this. I know Jey Uso is lined up for, a world championship sometime down the line, but Drew McIntyre needs another run at that thing too. Next, pretty standard match. They had their thing at SummerSlam, and this was just a rematch of that Dominic match back in the day, but with Liv and Rhea, and we sort of kind of got this, and it was hype. It was something that we wanted, but the end of the match ruined the whole thing, and it really just started the downfall of the whole thing. Like I said with the Finn and Damian match, but this one really takes the cake right here. As Liv's heavy, and it's at this point it was just getting too much, or maybe not enough, with not enough new content added to the storyline. It was just no. That's all I can really say. I really don't have anything else to say about it. It's just, if I had to describe it, just no. And folks online was saying the same sentiment. Just let it die. We need to just let this storyline die after this one. So yeah, it was a dud and a half, and this match gets the Flop of the Night award. So shout out to that match. And now we get to the main event: Cody Rhodes alongside Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. And I know what you're thinking. The CM Punk Drew McIntyre feud just had a lot going for it. And I know it might sound weird, but it actually kind of had more build to it, especially for a PLE named Bad Blood. I think you would want the Hell in a Cell Blood feud to be the main event, but for reasons that I will explain very shortly. Really, really good match. Team of the Bad Blood PLE, but after the match, Roman helps him. That was the Bad Blood PLE. W's in the shot. Very good PLE for October. And with this Rock appearance, I thought we just wanted to be on TV, and I just don't understand it, because I'm probably seeing too much Dwayne Johnson on WWE TV and WWE PLEs. At the beginning of the year, it was hype because of the whole Roman versus Rock, then the controversy, then the pivot. But now it's just getting a little bit too much. It's devaluing the appearances from The Rock, and the more and more we utilize it, the less and less interested we get, and the more predictable it becomes. So, yeah. Oh, and also after the PLE, Kevin Owens beat the shit out of Cody Rhodes at his tour bus because he teamed up with the Bloodline, and rightfully so. So that adds to their story, which saves Cody from the Bloodline hell that I mentioned earlier. The rest of October sees the start of the Rollins and Punk feud. Also, Seth getting his lick back on Bronson Reed. The Miz joins the Final Testament, kind of. More of the Judgment Day, Liv, Rhea, Dominic, Damian bullshit. Carmelo Hayes and Andrade putting out absolute classics on SmackDown. Hello, Jimmy Uso to reconcile in the midst of the new Bloodline terrorist campaign. But given that the history and what led up to WrestleMania 40, Jay really isn't in a talking mood right now. But uses his IC title when Braun Breaker rematches him on Raw due to Bloodline interference, which aligns Jay right back with the original Bloodline. It was clear that we're building to Survivor Series War Games, OG Bloodline versus New Bloodline, as we start to go into the lovely, thankful month of November. On the second day of November, we got Crown Jewel, which introduces a non-canon championship belt for the men and women world champions. When they face off in their given matches, the belt does look cool. They're big, gaudy, and everything you'll want out of a championship belt. I know a lot of folks was questioning the clean pin from Solo onto Roman, but this was needed to establish a new Bloodline as an actual threat. Something that could be done for another faction, but I guess not. We got a fatal four-way tag match for the Women's Tag Team Championship, and Jade and Bianca retains again. Seth and Bronson Reed battled it out. Seth wins, but Bronson Reed stands up, seemingly unfazed after he gets pinned. Next, it was Liv wins the new Crown Jewel belt, which was bigger than her. Triple threat for the U.S. title: LA Knight, Andrade, and Carmelo Hayes. This was a good match as well, and it had a really unique and fun finish. The next episode of SmackDown, Sammy confronts Ron. Across both shows, we get the introduction of women mid-card titles in the women's US title and the women's intercontinental title, which was long awaited for. Across the other Raw and SmackDowns, we see both of these groups try to struggle to get their fifth member. The new bloodline actually gets Bronson Reed, and you would think that would bring Seth on board, but Seth does not fuck with Roman for good reasons. And after struggling to find their fifth member, they come out on a faithful SmackDown, seemingly to surrender, when the Wise Man returns after ghosting Roman Reigns to announce that he has found the fifth member of the OG Bloodlines team. And CM Punk being included in this was definitely a shocker, but man, the reactions online was visceral in a good way, and we were all hyped for War Games. For the other storylines going into Survivor Series, we see Gunther lose his swag as he's apparently scared of Damian Priest now. Rhea had got taken out on NXT by Liv and Raquel Rodriguez. Cody is seeking revenge for Kevin Owens for crashing out on Randy Orton. We get a Shinsuke Nakamura return as he attacks LA Knight. We get Rhea Ripley returning to join the babyface women's roster to face off against the heel women's roster in the women's War Games match. And we get the New Day absolutely flaming each other in probably one of the best promos of the year. So the card for War Games was set, and we'll hop right into it, starting with the women's War Games match. Now, it did start kind of awkward. The internet was dogging Nia Jax for her quote-unquote chair shots. But next we get Shinsuke Nakamura versus LA Knight for the US title with a fire entrance for Shinsuke Nakamura. And with that, he actually now for what we all been waiting for, this main event, this men's War Games match. It absolutely cooked. You don't need me to tell you that. The internet views speak for itself. It was a banger. Punk and Roman was ore farming the whole time. Jacob Fatu was completely unhinged. Roman speared Punk. You know, at the end of the match, they did a combo attack on Solo and winning the whole damn thing. I was there again. And the highlight of the night, something that was slow cooking for a little while, the New Day heel turn. This episode, we see the 10th anniversary of the New Day. Kofi and Xavier Woods comes out. You know, they've been at odds for a couple of months now. They address the crowd just like how parents sit down their children when they announce that they're about to get a divorce. When we get big, these folks have been beefing for months. It takes no time to come onto WWE TV and try to bring the group together. But like 4 to 5 months down the line, now you want to come together and bring them up when they're literally at the point of breaking up. Nah, man, we're good on that. Brother, you had time. You were doing side quests on college football game days, bro. Like, you could have been here for the team. All in all, we get our next eventual feud between these three, and we get to my next WrestleMania prediction. Book it! Now, you might be asking, why would I put the man who literally broke his neck in a handicap match against 2 other people who now hate his guts? And really, the way this match can be written is, you can just let Big E go Super Cena mode, right? You know, he struggles at the beginning, but, you know, to really bring the group together, he has to show them what's up, and he just defeats these two. And I feel like it would be a really good return for Big E to come to wrestling. I know he's saying that he's not medically cleared yet, but him saying that means that he's either getting closer to be medically cleared, or he's already medically cleared, and he's just waiting for the storyline to be inputted in. So, yeah, this is that storyline. Book this shit for WrestleMania. It'd be great. Next, we get the last PLE of the year, being the return of the retro iconic Saturday night's main event. And I like that they brought back this PLE. I like the PLEs to have a distinct theme to them, kind of like Bad Blood ass. Unfortunately, this was not as good as Bad Blood. This was a glorified house show. You even had ads in between the matches because it was live on NBC. And you know the WWE loves their ad revenue. The matches was also predictable as well. We have Drew beating Sammy, Gunther beating Finn Balor and Damian Priest to get his swagger back. We have Io losing to Liv for her to retain her championship belt. Honestly, the best thing to come out of this night was Chelsea Green winning the women's US title after a tournament was held for it, beating Michin, and Cody rocking the Winged Eagle belt. That was pretty cool to see. Even though Cody did beat KO in the main event, after air, KO broke Cody's neck to send him on a mini vacation, I guess. Nah, I guess not. He'll be back on the January 6th episode of Raw. But KO did take the Winged Eagle belt and proclaimed himself as the new WWE champion. So he's completely unhinged and pretty same thing, just substandard. Not really substandard, but nothing really putting over the edge. Elimination Chamber, King and Queen in the ring, kind of on the same level. Royal Rumble, even though I really liked it, just not enough to put it over the rest of the PLEs here. At 8, we got Clash at the Castle, really good PLE. 7, Bash in Berlin, really good PLE. 6, Bad Blood, really, really good PLE. And then we get to the top 5. Backlash, that crowd, amazing, but the crowd does carry the event pretty heavily. 4, Survivor Series, that War Games match, top tier. You got Shinsuke Nakamura winning in that great triple threat for the IC title. And at number 3, we have WrestleMania 40 Night 1. Yes, I count the 2 nights as 2 separate PLEs, even though they're the same PLE. Kind of feels different vibes to it. And yeah, I think SummerSlam is better than night 1 of WrestleMania. Smaller card definitely benefits from that. And SummerSlam does not have as bad of a match as Jimmy versus Jey Uso. I'm sorry. The Roman Rock tag match cannot just save it from that atrocity. So yeah, SummerSlam is at number 2. And at no surprise, WrestleMania Night 2 is at number 1. Needs no explaining. If you need me to explain it, then where have you been for WWE in 2024? Next, we get our Rumble winners from 2025. 1, 2, 3, and boom. Yes, I had Io Sky winning the Women's Rumble, which is popular consensus among the WWE Universe, and the one, the only, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson winning the Men's Rumble. Now for Io, I strongly believe on the Netflix premiere that Rhea will beat Liv to finally put an end to this godforsaken feud, and that the obvious choice should be Rhea versus Io for the Women's World Championship. I think that would be a great match. Io is the best women's wrestler in the company, and it will be cinema. Now for Rocky, Dwayne Johnson. And I'm just coming out and say it. I don't care for Roman versus Rock anymore. I think we are way past the due dates, and maybe I'll be proved wrong in the future when it eventually sells for like $1 billion at some future WrestleMania. But I think The Rock wins the Rumble here. Hopefully in the way that the internet thinks, where he enters at 31 via the power of his TKO board of directors seat, and eventually goes on to challenge Cody for the undisputed WWE Championship. With the Rumble winners out of the way, we get to the WrestleMania 41 card in Las Vegas. So in no particular order except for the main events that I suggest, here is my predicted card. Starting off with a heater and probably a bit of a controversial one. Night 1 main event. We have a fatal 4-way match between Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins. And with everything we know thus far, the direction is probably CM Punk versus Roman Reigns, but I really didn't see a fit for Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre anywhere else on this card. They're definitely not going to face each other again, because that's what happened last Mania. At least that's what I hope. So, everybody has ties and hatred for each other in this match, so I feel like it only makes sense for this. A lot of history, a lot of bad blood there, no pun intended. So I think this fatal 4-way match could work. It shouldn't take away the spotlight from CM Punk and Roman Reigns. If not, I guess you can run it back at SummerSlam. They get their own singles match, but yeah, I'm putting this down as Night 1 main event for WrestleMania 41. Next, we got Bianca Belair versus Jade Cargill in the last woman standing match. And I don't think I mentioned this earlier, but to the build up to War Games, somebody absolutely decked Jade like she was on a car hood, completely out of it. She got sent on vacation for a little while, and it's probably either Naomi or Bailey, probably Naomi. So Jade's gonna come back, fuck up Naomi, and the way it currently is, as of the Saturday before January 6th, Bianca and Naomi are tag champions because the title was going to get vacated due to Jay's absence, but Naomi stepped in to help Bianca, and I don't think Jay really likes to be replaced, so she'll confront Bianca about that. You can build on that till Mania, and with these two being powerhouses in the women's division. Our last woman standing match is how it should go. Next, we got Braun Breaker versus Sheamus. This one's pretty simple. Give Sheamus that WrestleMania moment with him winning the elusive IC title and him finally becoming a Grand Slam champion. That's really all there is to this one. Next, I have a triple threat for the women's US title with Piper Niven, Meat Chin, and Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green and Meat Chin kind of already have that rivalry because Chelsea beat Meat Chin for the title. I would think that Piper would turn on Chelsea as Chelsea is getting on the spotlight and Piper wants to be her own person. So, yeah, triple threat, book it. And I just want to apologize for advance for this horrendous picture of Jacob Fatu, but it's the best I could find that kind of fits with the front-facing theme. But yeah, Jacob Fatu versus Solo Sikoa. Jacob Fatu falls out of love with Solo. They feud. They fight at WrestleMania. Simple. Book it. Next, we have a mixed tag team match with the factions, the White Six and the Judgment Day. After the whole Liv Rhea Judgment Day versus Damian debacle, I think we need to move on and break up the Judgment Day. I think the Wyatt Six, how they've been, reaping havoc. The Judgment Day will be the next victim of this, so I think this will be the natural progression for both of these factions. Yeah, next we have KO versus Randy Orton. I think this could be kind of a first blood match, no holds bars match, something like that. I don't think Randy is going to take too kindly to get his neck broken, storyline that he is, and we might see a more vicious Viper come out. And yeah, KO is already unhinged. He already crashed out, so he'll probably crash out in this match as well, and we'll get another good heated battle like it was at Crown Jewel, or yeah, I think it was Crown Jewel. Anyway, I forgot. So yeah, book this one too. Now we have Io versus Rhea. I already talked about it. Rhea probably regained that belt on the January 6th episode of Raw. Io will win the Royal Rumble. This will be the WrestleMania match. Simple, straight to the point. Book it. Speaking of things I already talked about, Gunther versus Cena. Gunther is a familiar hero for John Cena. Cena seeking that, title record, whatever it is. So you can book this one too. The Big E handicap match, like I said, against the new heel, New Day. And like I said, just let Big E go Super Cena. This match will be great. I think this can build way past WrestleMania if written correctly. Next, we have Lyra Valkyrie versus Becky Lynch for the women's IC title. Yes, I think Lyra will get the women's IC title. And to really legitimize it and make us care and make us feel like this title is important to the women's division, I think you need a big player like Becky Lynch to make this a big time match. And I think the WWE should go this direction for it. Next, we have Shinsuke versus Carmelo Hayes for the US title. And with this one, it's kind of hard to book Shinsuke because I feel like if you make him lose the belt too early, it'll just be like, for what? But I do think Melo deserves the US title. He's been putting in good work on SmackDown. You need to reward him. It's just that I don't know where Shinsuke will go from here. Do you put him like in the main event scene with the other belts? It's not like he's going to win those anytime soon. So maybe Shinsuke retains here to continue that reign, to figure out what you do with him in the future. But yeah, book it. Now for this one, I had something a little bit different. I originally had Nia Jax versus Charlotte Flair because Charlotte's going to return very, very soon. But no lie, on the January 3rd episode of SmackDown, Tiffy cashed in and she is your new WWE Women's Champion. So originally I had booked Tiffy to cash in on Nia when Nia faces Flair at WrestleMania, but kind of have to do a little pivot a little bit, So yeah, Tiffy Stratton versus Charlotte Flair. She's going to return soon. This build would be nice. They kind of mirror each other similarly, and I think this would be a pretty good build to WrestleMania. I do think Tiffy should probably retain, or maybe they give it to Charlotte because she's a vet. Who knows? Maybe they insert Nia into the feud. Overall, we're gonna book this as my pivot, but yeah, I originally had Nia versus Flair, but now we have Tiffy versus Flair. Cody Rhodes versus The Rock. Not much more to say. Main event for night 2. Although there are reports saying that they want to do Cena versus Cody, but they will pivot to whatever The Rock wants to do. So The Rock might just fuck up my whole card, but I'm sticking to my gut on this one. And yeah, here's the full Mania card. Like I said, a lot could change with whether Dwayne wants to face Cena or Cody. Also didn't include major players like LA Knight, Damian Priest, tag titles, the women tag titles, Logan Paul. Yeah, I wasn't too sure where they would fall on this card. And, maybe that's a sign I shouldn't be in WWE Creative. Who knows? But yeah, I have the graphic, and here's the itemized list, barring if Dwayne Johnson wants to intervene or not. And yeah, that's the whole video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I know it's a bit long, but 2024 has a lot, and it was a great year. Definitely looking forward to what the WWE brings in 2025. Hope you all enjoyed this video. For more content, not just WWE, but anything in media, current news, whatever, be on the lookout for that. I have a lot planned for 2025 as I kickstart this YouTube channel. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think about this. I leave you all with this great Bible verse from Isaiah 43, Good News Translation. God bless. I'm Raw, and I'm out.